My name is Emily Carter, and the night my best friend got engaged was the night I realized she'd been lying to me for months because the man she was about to marry was someone I knew far too well. Before I tell you what happened, subscribe to the channel and tell me where you're watching from, because I still can't believe how everything unfolded that night. It started with a message from her. Cheerful and excited, the kind of message that makes you smile without thinking twice. "You have to come to my engagement party, Em. It wouldn't feel right without you." I remember staring at my phone, smiling, because this was Lily, my best friend since college, the girl who knew every secret I had, the one who cried on my shoulder through every breakup, every disappointment, every bad decision. She hadn't mentioned she was even dating someone seriously, which felt strange, but I brushed it off because Lily was always a little private when things first started. Still, something about the message felt rushed, like she needed me there, not just wanted me there. The party was at a high-end rooftop venue downtown, the kind of place with golden lights, soft music, and people dressed like they belonged in a magazine. I almost didn't go. I had work early the next day, and honestly, I felt a little out of place at events like that. But Lily insisted. She even called me twice to make sure I was coming. "Please don't be late," she said, her voice oddly tense for someone who was supposed to be celebrating one of the happiest nights of her life. When I arrived, everything looked perfect. Too perfect. Guests were laughing, champagne glasses clinking, a large floral arch stood at the center of the terrace. And Lily was there, glowing in a white dress, smiling like she had just stepped into the life she always wanted. The moment she saw me, she rushed over and hugged me tightly, tighter than usual. "You made it," she whispered, almost like she was relieved. I pulled back, laughing. "Of course I did. You didn't even tell me his name yet. Who is he?" For a split second, just a second, her smile faltered. "You'll meet him soon," she said quickly, brushing it off, but her eyes avoided mine. That was the first moment something didn't feel right. I tried to ignore it, telling myself I was overthinking, but as the minutes passed, I noticed how carefully she kept me away from certain parts of the party. Every time I moved toward the center where people were gathering, she'd distract me, introducing me to someone, handing me a drink, pulling me into a conversation. It felt subtle, but intentional. And then I heard it. Someone near the bar said, "Have you met the groom yet? He just arrived." My heart skipped for no reason I could explain. I turned instinctively toward the entrance, and that's when everything inside me went completely still. Because the moment I saw him walk in, I realized exactly why Lily never told me his name. Because the man walking through that entrance was Daniel Hayes. For a second, I genuinely thought my mind was playing some kind of cruel trick on me, like my brain was trying to connect dots that didn't exist. But then he stepped fully into the light, smiling politely as guests turned to greet him, and there was no doubt left. Same confident posture, same familiar face, same man who had stood in my kitchen just 3 months ago telling me he wasn't ready for anything serious. My chest tightened so suddenly I had to grab the edge of the table beside me just to stay steady, my thoughts racing so fast I couldn't hold on to a single one of them properly. Because this wasn't just some coincidence. This wasn't just, "Oh, we dated once." Daniel and I hadn't just dated. We had been together for almost a year. A quiet, private relationship that never quite made it to social media because he said he valued keeping things real. And I believed him. I trusted him. I trusted both of them. My eyes darted across the crowd, searching for Lily, and when I found her, she was already looking at me, like she knew this moment was coming, like she had been waiting for it. That's when everything shifted from confusion to something much heavier, something colder. She didn't look surprised. She didn't look panicked. She looked prepared. I started walking toward her before I even realized what I was doing, my heels hitting the floor harder than I intended. My heart beat loud enough that it drowned out the music around me, and every step felt like I was walking straight into a truth I wasn't ready to face. "Emily," she said softly when I reached her, her voice careful, controlled, like she was choosing every word before it left her mouth. "You weren't supposed to see him like this. That sentence hit harder than anything else could have, because it confirmed everything I was starting to understand. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't bad timing. This was something she had planned to hide. Like what? I asked, my voice quieter than I expected, but sharper, edged with something I couldn't hold back anymore. At your engagement party? As your fiancé? For a moment, she didn't answer, her gaze flickering past me toward where Daniel was now being congratulated by a group of guests, completely unaware, or maybe just pretending to be, that I was standing here, unraveling piece by piece. "I was going to tell you," she finally said, but even she didn't sound convinced by her own words. I let out a short, hollow laugh. "When, Lily? After the wedding?" She flinched slightly, and that tiny reaction told me more than anything else could have. My mind started replaying everything. The nights she asked me about him casually, pretending she didn't know who I was talking about. The way she suddenly got busy whenever I mentioned bringing him to meet her. The subtle distance that crept in over the past few months. It all made sense now in the worst possible way. "How long?" I asked, and this time my voice didn't shake. It was steady, controlled, and that scared her more than if I had yelled. She hesitated just for a second, but it was enough. "It's not what you think," she said instead, and that was the moment something inside me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like a final thread breaking. Because when someone says that, it always means it's exactly what you think, if not worse. And just as I was about to say something I knew I wouldn't be able to take back, I felt a presence behind me. Familiar. Too familiar. And then I heard his voice. Calm, smooth, like nothing was wrong at all. "Emily, I didn't expect to see you here." For a moment, I didn't turn around. Not because I didn't recognize his voice, but because I needed those 2 seconds to pull myself together, to stop my hands from shaking, to decide who I was going to be in this moment, the girl they thought they could lie to, or the woman who would not let them get away with it. Slowly, I turned to face Daniel, meeting his eyes for the first time that night, and what I saw there wasn't guilt. Not even surprise. It was calculation, like he was already trying to figure out how to control the situation before I said a single word. "You didn't expect me?" I repeated, my voice calm, almost too calm, and I saw Lily tense beside me because she knew that tone. She knew what it meant. "That's interesting, because I was specifically invited." His jaw tightened slightly, but he recovered quickly, offering a small, practiced smile. "Emily, I was going to explain." "No," I cut him off, louder this time, just enough that a few nearby conversations started to quiet, a few curious glances turning toward us. "Don't do that. Don't stand here and act like this is something you can explain away." Lily stepped closer, her hand lightly touching my arm, but I pulled away instantly. "Em, please, not here," she whispered, panic finally creeping into her voice, but it was too late for that. They had chosen here the moment they decided to turn this into a public celebration while hiding the truth from me. I took a slow breath, then looked around, really looked, and realized something important. Everyone here was watching. Waiting, sensing that something wasn't right. And suddenly I understood exactly why Lily had tried so hard to keep me away from the center of the party. She wasn't protecting me, she was protecting this image. And in that moment, I made a decision. If they were going to build their happiness on lies, then the truth deserved the same audience. I stepped forward, just slightly, enough to shift the attention fully onto us, and then I said it. Clear, steady, impossible to ignore. "Congratulations, Lily," I began, my eyes locked on hers. "You did a great job keeping this a secret." The music had almost completely faded now, conversations dissolving into silence around us. "Because the man you're about to marry?" I paused, just long enough for the weight of my words to settle over the crowd. "Is the same man who was in a relationship with me until 3 months ago." A ripple moved through the guests instantly. Whispers, shocked expressions, people turning toward Daniel, toward Lily, toward me. And for the first time that night, Daniel lost control of his expression completely. "That's not," he started, but I didn't stop. "And what's worse," I continued, my voice still calm, still controlled, "is that she knew." This time the reaction was louder. Gasps, murmurs, someone even stepping back like they didn't want to be part of what was unfolding. Lily shook her head quickly, tears forming in her eyes now, but they didn't feel real anymore. Not after everything. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this," she said, her voice breaking. But I just looked at her for a long second, realizing something that hurt more than anything else had that night. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice, and I was the only one who didn't know about it. I let out a quiet breath, feeling something inside me finally settle, not because the pain was gone, but because the truth was no longer mine to carry alone. "You don't have to explain anything," I said softly, stepping back. "You've already shown me everything I needed to see." And with that, I turned and walked away, leaving behind the silence, the whispers, and the perfect party that was no longer perfect at all, because sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to fight for people who betray you, it's to let the truth speak and then walk away with your dignity intact.